We waited until no one was around, then searched the desk. You were on lookout, John.
Do you recall what we found here?
I remember a book with wax stains damaged by humidity. The officer used it to keep him company during long prison shifts. A half-eaten tuna sandwich. It was carefully wrapped in a hand-stitched kerchief. You almost took a bite, John. There was a chain of keys. We found something here, John, and something else. It was a police billy club, new, but already stained with blood.
What's important is that we found keys. By my memory, we crept to the prison cells immediately. Let's go.
This area is restricted. This area is restricted. What a long day.
Guards were lazy. Knowing their shift schedule, it was easy to sneak past them and find the right cell.
Yes, and with the keys and map in hand, we busted out Matthias and escaped through the catacombs.
John, no, that's not what happened. Let me remember. It was dark. His cell smelt of decay and excrement. I remember calling for him, but Matthias did not answer, so I walked inside. I saw a shape. It was moving just barely. I remember seeing his familiar yellow jacket, now torn and covered in strange brown splotches. I saw his legs twisted at an impossible angle. Then someone called to me from the door. It was an officer. He didn't yell when he saw me, understood it at a glance. He took me outside, told me to forget what I saw. In a way, I did.
Sherry, Come outside. We should take a photo of the cell. I know you want to remember the truth. Good place for a picture, Sherry.
Rest easy, Matthias. John, I must find that loathsome mutton shunter Mitchell. I will find him. Do you know anything about this?
Unfortunately, my casebook is empty on this.
It's not fair. He deserved worse.
And Matthias deserved better. There is a lot of injustice in the world, Sherry. Your skills could make a difference for others like him.
Stop the presses. Who is Cordona's handsome stranger? Or Nosebaggerspun's local life? Wait, no. Foppish foreigner hides dark past. Oh, you've made quite the impression already, Mr. Holmes. You care to tell your side of the story?
I'm quite certain I have no idea as to what you refer, and I am further certain I have no interest in indulging your gossip.
Gossip? The truth will come out, but will only be heard if told well. Scandal, daring do, romance. These are the tools of every good journalist. Nothing travels faster or lasts longer than a great story. Young man, your tale will be told with or without you. My readers demand it.
You already knew my name and seem aware of my doings here in Cordona. I presume this newspaper is your little endeavor?
Yasmin Sertel, editor-in-chief of the Cordona Chronicle. Advocate of the free press, voice of the people, scourge of the silk stocking.
Charmed, I'm sure. As an advocate of the free press, I trust you'll permit me to consult your archives? There are gaps in my knowledge of Cordona.
Oh, so my work does have merit. Well, I think we can strike a bargain. I shall provide you access, and you let me keep writing about your exploits.
So be it.
Brooding bachelor builds bridges. Now that's character development.
I guess I owe you my gratitude.
What can I say? I've always enjoyed working with the Holmes. They whisper such interesting things.
my gripping corruption investigation on the 4th page? We can't tolerate such disrespect, right, Sherlock?
Yes, yes, John. You know, I'm starting to remember. We wrote it somewhere in this building. Let's find where. There was a military parade that day. Everyone was there, so we had the office at our disposal for a while. Still, it's a miracle we weren't caught.
An underappreciated masterpiece was born here. You recall anything else?
Working on this machine felt right. We almost ran out of ink ribbon, but somehow we knew it wouldn't inconvenience anyone. We found a folder with approved stories. John, it wasn't the editor, it was us. We swapped the article on the 4th page with ours. Curious. We had a suitcase. It was soggy and filled with notes and clippings. I remember it was important somehow.
Is that all, my friend?
John, no, wait. I'm missing something crucial. The suitcase, where did we get it from?
Okay, Sherlock, focus on it. What can you remember about it?
It felt wet and slimy, as if it had lain in the water for some time. Yet the insides were surprisingly intact.
Yes, right. And I remember the sound of horns like they use at the industrial sites. It must be somewhere on the Silverton coast.
I can recall the smell of fish. It was so strong I could taste it.
Ah, I think we were near one of those fish warehouses, big ones.
That comprises the entirety of my memories on the subject.
So, we are looking for a fish warehouse on the coast of Silverton that stands right on the water's edge.
It seems so, my friend. I am sure I will remember the place when I see it. Let's go.
That's the article. Feeling old already?
In a fit of rage, the elephant broke the chain and threw its victim on the ground with a fierce power. Escaping the scene, it pulled the body with it, but dropped it at the gate. At least some of this was witnessed by a third party who was hurled against the shed. The elephant can't have gone too far. I can still track it.
I suppose you find it. Then what? Push it all the way back to the manor?
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
Excuse me? What? I'm not sure I know.
What's happened? What is it?
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
That's a question I can answer.
The elephant barged into this cart of olive oil.
What if we're lucky and he slipped and fell somewhere along the way? Okay, hear me out. If an elephant falls in the forest and there's no one around to...
John, no.
Oh, you're such a killjoy.
strange. It was hung with care. The game has escaped us for now. We'll find a solution to the elephant problem later. I can always recognize the spirit of a true artist.
Oh, but why do I get the worst jobs?
This young lady has a childish interest for her age.
You. Who are you?
My name is Sherlock Holmes. Theodore Gilden was...
Did you kill him? Did you kill the elephant?
It's not in the yard anymore. It escaped into the forest.
You can't let it go. What if it returns?
I highly doubt that, Miss.
Imogen Gilden. Please, I beg of you, find that dreadful beast that killed my father.
I suppose we do need to learn what happened. Can you tell me what happened? From the very start.
I was here, so I didn't see how it began. My father visits the enclosure every morning to wake up Goliath. Today, I heard the elephant scream. I've never heard such a horrifying sound. My heart stopped. I knew something was wrong. I looked through my window and saw how it lifted my father up by his neck. I rushed downstairs. I saw it dragging my father as if he were a doll. I threw stones at it. It dropped my father's body and charged outside, screaming. Its roar was almost human. I was frightened, so I ran inside and hid here.
Well, it was the most probable outcome, living with a giant wild animal such as that.
How can you be so cold? Goliath murdered my father, Mr. Holmes. He mustn't be allowed to get away with it.
Well, thank you for the information, Miss Gilden. I did have some questions for your father. Perhaps you might help me with them?
I wasn't privy to much of my father's life, and it's very hard to think of anything at all with Goliath still loose. Please, Mr. Holmes.
Very well. Do you mind if I ask you more questions if I find anything that might help?
Anything to catch that monster.
Did you observe anyone else in the yard? Any of your servants, perhaps?
Servants? Do you imagine that we would have any with Goliath? No one wishes to work in this house, even for double pay. I didn't see anyone else. Only my father and that diabolical beast. I'm afraid I can't add anything useful. I don't have any thoughts on this.
Had Goliath been aggressive before?
It's dangerous, but it was never aggressive near my father. My father would do anything for Goliath. All the elephant had to do was clap its ears.
You envied him, the elephant, I mean?
Our house is called the House of Ivory. I've heard some people refer to me as the Ivory Girl, and my room stinks of the animal, as if it's me who lives in a pen and not Goliath. It's not envy, Mr. Holmes. It's just incredibly difficult to live like this.
Miss Gilden, I was on this island 10 years ago, and your father knew my mother. I believe I even had the opportunity to ride that balloon outside, but I do not recall seeing you.
I lived at my late mother's in Sheffield at the time. I'm in no spirit to reminisce right now. The elephant is out there.
You've never heard the name Violet Holmes before? Perhaps your father...
Please, Mr. Holmes. With that beast roaming free, I can't think of anything.
Very well. False idols? Oh, sounds utterly dreary. She packed as much as she could carry. The same dull poses on all romantic photographs. So idyllic. Enjoy your happily ever after before it stales.
Hey, Sherry, we need to talk. You found false idols. We need to find the remaining two.
What does bazooka even mean? Would this paper be good for anything but blowing one's nose on?
They're not rubbish, Sherry. There's something more. I'm serious.
Very well. I doubt it'll be worth it, but I will find them for you, John.
You'll thank me later. They're some of the most imaginative books I've ever read.
What did you say?
Speaking aloud helps me think. A commendable effort to barricade the windows. I found this. Who's this young lad next to you, your faithful knight?
Paul. He's my pirate. He's not really a pirate. I just call him that. It probably sounds very silly.
Your secret is safe in my hands. Does Paul work somewhere? What is his surname?
His name is Paul Perks. He and his yacht Whirlpool are the champions of the Salacia Yacht Club. He sails there. I'll show you where it is on the map if you need to meet him.
A yachting champion? Well, that will be a first. I prefer dry land. And so does my suit. How can you read something like this? It's hard to swallow, and that's not due to the hard cover.
You're hardly serious. Any library without Nabe and Laura is incomplete. If you can read, then these books are an absolute must. Love and adventure. They're about life.
Oh, I wasn't aware that exploding pyramids were part of daily life on Cordona.
You haven't seen life, so you might try reading about it at least.
These bags of yours, it looks as if you've packed your entire room. Were you planning on going somewhere?
My partner and I, we wanted a change, a fresh start abroad. But now I have to stay here. Here, an orphan.
Excuse me, just one question.
That's a question I can answer.
this familiar to you?
Excuse me? What? I'm not sure I know.
Champion's Whirlpool. Pool's bread and butter. Bloodied bandages. Has someone been hurt?
Where would a champion hide a key?
Sails of Hatred. I suppose there is something for everyone, including champions.
Who knew archaeology could be so exciting?
Exciting is certainly a word. A foghorn to navigate and warn others at sea.
It should have a warning to cover your ears.
A foghorn to navigate and warn others at sea. I hope Paul is more skilled at yachting than he is at hiding keys. Bloodied bandages. To earn big, you have to spend big. Mr. Gilden wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty. Old betting slips. Paul always bets on Whirlpool. One victory after another. Additional earnings to sweeten the victory. An interesting place for a message to a champion. A box full of darts. Each has a needle and can be loaded with drugs. An expensive set of tools for woodwork. An amateur wouldn't know how to use these. Shipbuilding, shipwright's tricks, sail weaving. An expensive set of tools for woodwork. An amateur wouldn't know how to use these. Foghorn to navigate and warn others at sea. Undeniably psychotropes. Not for toothache, I think. A typical tea tin. I wonder what he has for biscuits.
Oi! Hands off my possessions before you lose your fingers. Are you illiterate? The rules are written everywhere.
Ah, Mr. Perks, the cabin boy himself.
Champion, you mean? I was right. You are illiterate. I think a couple of shiners might teach you. One last chance. Who are you?
I'm Sherlock Holmes, a friend of our mutual acquaintance, Miss Imogen.
Look, you artichoke. Imogen has no friends. Except for me.
If you must try to insult people, it's better to know the meanings of the words that you're using.
You fancy you could teach a sailor to swear? Go ahead. Show me how inventive you are.
Stand still for a moment. So, a woman wishes to become a real criminal, and smuggling is a stepping stone towards that? Is there not enough prestige in yachting? Or is it easier to compete with other fools like yourself? Everyone has a starting pistol, just shoot and run.
Don't say a word. I don't know where you're getting half of this nonsense, but you're on some thin ice here that I'm willing to crack.
Damn you, Paul. I'm sick of... Who's this peacock? Does he know who I am?
I definitely know who you are not. You're not a dictionary reader, at least. I wanted to see how you... pals interact with each other in your natural habitat. but I'm afraid I have to interfere.
I couldn't miss the party. Dodge this! I'm coming for you.
Don't cry, you'll live.
The snuff's ready.
Too simple.
Eat lead! I am invincible!
We can overcome the brute now.
Don't bother me.
Time to knock this guy out. The snuff's ready.
Take a rest.
Give him the pepper snuff. He's all yours now. Go for it.
I couldn't miss the party. I'm coming.
No more crime for you until next month.
And there's no reward for risking our lives.
Paul's explanation will suffice. Your fellow mariners have a strange way of showing hospitality.
They were not my friends.
Are you sure? I would rather risk my neck for someone who's at least honest and thankful.
Perhaps then don't enter someone's life and be so judgmental, pretending you're better than they are.
Then give me your perspective and allow me to see through your eyes. What were you doing this morning, Miss Perks?
Don't call me that. I'm a champion. I was sailing.
The other club members told me that you missed the race this morning. Do champions not need to practice?
Ugh, you've talked with them already. No, I wasn't racing. I visited the doctor after that attack on me, and then I had to honor the deal with the bandits you just took care of.
I tried to tell you before, but your partners interrupted. Have you heard the news? Theodore Gilden is dead. Do you have anything to say?
Well, what a shock. To me, he was an angry old ogre. Good riddance. Was it Goliath that killed him? Did it crush him? Break his bones? Come on, tell me. I want all the details.
You have an unusual way of showing grief. Imogen wouldn't appreciate that. But yes, the animal could have been involved.
It's poetic in a way, isn't it? It takes a beast to kill a monster. I wish I could have been that elephant.
This business of yours, you should be more careful. Ruining your life at such a young age is ridiculous.
I am careful. Except for you, no one has noticed where I store the smuggled goods. If the police arrive, there's no link to me. It's common storage, not exclusively mine. I'm clueless.
You smuggle illicit psychotropes on your yacht. Not a delivery for the hospital, I'm sure.
Of course not. I've had to cut corners to earn some money. How might a person afford to pay for a yacht in an honest way? I don't know, although I'm smart. The buyers are my customers. Adults who are willing to pay for their pleasure, or weapons for jewels. Whatever they want me to deliver. Nothing criminal.
Well, it's your lucky day. I'm not here because of smuggling. Have you tasted this tea yourself?
I wouldn't have been a champion if I had used it. It's just a side business that keeps my career afloat. It's quite expensive to compete in yachting. Sometimes I cut corners.
Such as fixing Whirlpool yourself?
Exactly. And sometimes I just have to pay. That's how I earn money. I don't sell slaves or take the last mangear from a poor family.
Look what I found. A box full of darts.
Hey, that's mine.
I confiscated it. These darts appear to be filled with something. Poison? How powerful is it?
It's strychnine. Enough to instantly kill a small rodent. I haven't tried it on a human. Yet. I hope you know what you're doing.
Could it immobilize a larger animal, say, an elephant?
I've never tried, but I have wondered.
It seems as though Theodore Gilden hung a sword of Damocles over your life and career. Were these only words, or something more serious?
Check my forearm. Pulled muscles and bruises. Small cuts. Nothing that you could call serious.
I doubt that a man in his late 50s could wrestle you.
It wasn't him. He behaved like a rat and hired brutes. His boys tried to lock my hands behind my back, but I was faster and I escaped.
Was he so protective of his daughter, or was it your feminine secret that provoked him?
My guess is that he was protecting his property. As he saw it, he owned Imogen, and he treated her like a piece of furniture. He didn't want his daughter to be loved by anyone. What's more painful is that Theodore didn't allow me to love his daughter. Typical.
I'm not sure that your relationship with Imogen could be described as typical.
Are you afraid of a woman in trousers? Now that's typical of men.
A charming picture. I've heard that champions do often pose with their trophies.
Cheeky. It is a lovely trophy, though. I'm sure you will agree.
What is it that you like most about her? Her naivety? Her father's money?
A somewhat difficult choice. Especially now that her father is out of the equation.
Imogen doesn't strike me as an industrious young lady, so I find it strange that she was busy packing up all her belongings when Mr. Gilden died. That's some favorable wind in your sails, isn't it?
Is it so suspicious that a couple might embark on a trip? I wanted to thank her, so we planned to go traveling. A Theodore-free place, without elephants.
The timing of it is suspicious, however. Your lady friend becomes an orphan and heir, and there's a planned trip directly afterwards.
An improvised romantic dinner will never please a spoiled girl. A planned voyage might. It's not spur of the moment.
Does this knife seem familiar? I didn't find it in your competitor's back, to be clear.
This knife is as blunt as your humor. It's a bosun's knife, but it's not mine. I wouldn't be so careless as to mislay my tools. I don't know what this means.
What can you tell me about the elephant?
He's smarter than some people here, including his owner. Although I feel he could be dangerous, no matter how much he's fed.
Why is that? Have you ever seen Goliath attack anyone?
Well, not exactly. But I saw it, abusing some poor tree during one of its walks with Theodore. The expression on that old ninny's face was priceless. But it wasn't funny to look at, believe me. It was frightening.
Between yachts, darts, and notes from bandits, I've discovered many fascinating facts about you. But this, an installment of Nabe and Laura's adventures. Why did you sully your library with this?
It's a gift from Imogen. I didn't buy it. I might have turned a couple of pages, but nothing more. I swear.
I will give you the benefit of the doubt, but your literary taste has put you on my blacklist. foghorn to navigate and warn others at sea.
Who's a cute bird?
I've nothing to say about this.
Have you seen what your father sent to Paul?
This is despicable. My father was never a gentleman, but this crosses the line. I knew that father wasn't fond of Paul, but this is just awful. If only he could have seen how good Paulie is to me. I've nothing to say about this.
Are you aware that Paul smuggles drugs for a dangerous gang?
Mr. Holmes, I've already told you. I call him a pirate in play. He's not an actual pirate. He's a champion and a brave gentleman, not a thug.
Let us agree to disagree on that. But don't be surprised if one of his clients knocks on your door. The nicest spot in the room. Mr. Gilden spent hours of his life right here.
Staring at an elephant's backside. What a wonderful life.
I think they were closer than you and me, John.
I'm hurt.
A relatively functional choice to replace the finger. Oh, the pungent stench of an animal.
Did Theodore seek some pink elephants with this?
I think Miss Gilden has barely matured. Quite the spectrum, from the history of the Roman Empire to conspiracy theories of the French Revolution. From before Mycroft was born, our family loves to prod at the past. Mother. It's nice to see her young and smiling.
Holmes's desire to rake up the past is hereditary.
What's so special about this place? Another elephant? A partnership annulled with a single stroke of a pen. catchy title. I should take a photograph of the plans. I don't want to carry them around. His second child? An apparent son and heir, I'd say. A. Swift, is this name familiar to you? Your father had it removed from this plan.
Oh, that's Arthur Swift. I've seen him a couple of times here. He works with my father in the old city, digging up something ancient.
He is an archaeologist?
That's the word, yes. But to be truthful, I really don't think Mr. Swift is fit to be one. I've just learnt a lot about archaeology from my favourite book series. Oh, they are page-turners.
Inspirational, I'm sure, but would you happen to know where this Mr. Swift might be found?
I don't, but perhaps you can find out somewhere. My father's work with him is all official. Lots of boring legal papers with signatures and stuff.
And, which part of the elephant is in here? It's quite pungent.
Oh, that. It's elephant sweat. Father believed that it might replace traditional ambergris.
Well, that's true entrepreneur spirit.